what are my dreams for the future? How can I translate these dreams into achievable goals and viable plans? And how can I motivate myself to pursue these dreams and plans persistently with a sense of meaning? What is happiness? And how can I lead a happy and successful life? What is the essence of good relationships with my romantic partner and my children and my friends and my colleagues? And how am I dealing with the fact that I will become older and older, and one day I'm going to die? Everyone in this room, you and you and you and I, we all have to face the fact that our time on this earth is finite. How we are going to deal with this, and what we want to do with the limited time that we have on this planet here. What meaning do I want to give my life? These are so very important questions. And when I was a student at school, no one ever asked me a question like this. Who of you remember their childhood or teenage dreams? Raise your hands. Okay. And who of you has ever tried to achieve these goals seriously, at least for some times in their lives? Okay. And who of you remember that a school teacher has ever asked you a question like this before, what your dreams are, seriously? Okay, 1, 2, 3, not very much. After I started to work as a school teacher at a school, I asked my students, what do you think are the really important things in life, the things that really matter? And my students seemed to like this question and they started to think about it. Here can you see some of the things I frequently mention. A happy family, good friends, a good job, health, happiness, love. Unfortunately, they got very fast tired and they stopped thinking about it. Instead, they asked me, what do you think? What should we learn next? And I, in return, asked them, okay, what would you really love to learn? What you are interested in? And they gave me a blank look, as if they had never heard a question like this before, especially not in the school. And so I asked them, okay, what comes to your mind when you hear the word learning? And all of my students, with no exception, had negative associations to the word of learning and to the idea of learning. Almost all of my students, they knew that learning was very important for their future, to get good jobs and make careers, but they didn't like it. They felt about it like an exhausting duty and burden they had to do. They told me they would only do it if they had to. They would never do it in their free time, just by its own sake. And this really shocked me. I've got a 3-year-old son, and what happened to these children since their childhood when they learned to walk and to speak with such an ease, and since the time when they loved to ask a million questions, and when they happily look forward to go to school in the future, when they will be grown up and big, and when they will be 6 years, they will go to the school. Yeah, Papa, can I go to school? Papa, can I go to school? But then when they are at these schools, the curiosity is very soon gone. So I asked myself, are there schools where children really love to learn, and where children love to go to? And I reduced my working time to 50%. And I began to search actively for these schools. I read many books on education. I did much internet research. And I traveled to several schools to see how they are working and if they are schools like I dreamt of. And finally, after a long search, I found these schools where children really love to learn. And I was overwhelmed. I felt the need that the world needs to be informed about these places. And I decided to make a documentary about it. At so-called free schools, the students can learn what they're interested in. The pedagogical concept is based on the dreams and the passions of the students. And the students can learn what they are really passionate for, what they're interested in. And they can choose what they want to learn and how they want to learn it. And the role of the teachers is to help the students to find out what their dreams are. And how they can translate these dreams into plans and how they can pursue these dreams in the reality. So I traveled to such schools in Germany, in Israel, in the Netherlands. I filmed there, the daily school life, and Thomas, a friend of mine, he traveled to such a school in Puerto Rico where they are working with street children, and he filmed there. And we interviewed professors and education experts and students and teachers and parents, and we produced more than 100 hours of material in our free time. We just did it because we were so passionate about it. It was our dream to show the world about these places. And here can you hear some of the things the students at these schools were saying.
Los geht's um 8:30.
Aus der Sicht von anderen Leuten ist eine demokratische Schule keine Schule. Aber so würde ich es nicht sehen. Jeder Tag ist eigentlich anders, weil immer was anderes passiert.
Ich mache einmal am Tag Mathe, einmal am Tag Deutsch und dann habe ich meistens noch ziemlich viel Zeit zum Spielen und andere Sachen machen.
Er will zwar Arzt werden, aber vorher muss er Geld verdienen.
Man entscheidet sich täglich in der Schule in den Unterricht zu gehen oder nicht in den Unterricht zu gehen. Und wenn ich in den Unterricht gehe, dann gehe ich hin, höre zu und mache richtig mit. Weil sonst habe ich da ja nichts verloren, dann hätte ich auch auf dem Sofa sitzen bleiben können.
Das hat was Angenehmes. Also ich komme gerne hier in die Schule. Das einzige Problem ist das Aufstehen.
Ja, wir können einfach mal hier anfangen. Also es gibt wie bei anderen Schulen, gibt es natürlich auch bei uns für jeden Raum oder es gibt einfach spezielle Raum, um zu lernen. Und das hier ist jetzt zum Beispiel, dieser Raum hier heißt Jamaika. Alle unsere Räume sind nach Ländern benannt, weil es nett ist und sich gut anhört, finde ich. Das hier ist jetzt zum Beispiel, da können wir gerade nicht rein, weil da ist ein Kurs. Der Raum heißt Brasilien, das ist ganz klar der Mathe-Raum, da ist gerade ein Mathekurs drin.
Ich habe die Sachen hier, die ich hier gelernt habe, die habe ich dadurch gelernt, dass ich sie ganz einfach gemacht habe. Dass mich nichts in der Ausübung von dem behindert, was ich tun will. Das heißt, man kann sich damit sehr frei fühlen.
Alles an dieser Schule ist freiwillig, wirklich.
Also ich würde wirklich sagen, der größte und auch wichtigste Unterschied ist, die Kinder haben hier keinen Stress. Und Stress ist in unserer Gesellschaft eines der größten Probleme.
Also eines meiner herzlichsten Erlebnisse war, dass ich einfach ankam und gesehen habe, wie die Kinder total glücklich gespielt haben.
Ik zou stiekem helpen, want die is weg. Kijk, ik ben de baas van de boot. Kijk, dat is de lucht. Nee, nee, nee. Omdraaien, omdraaien, omdraaien. Kijk, dat is dan lucht. En dan moet je zo grafbrieven tekenen. Kijk zo.
Learning is almost like a byproduct of doing things. So children engage in activities, and within those activities they need things, and they learn while they're doing.
Okay, so let's compare these schools to our traditional schools. Let's assume that this shape represents the whole knowledge of mankind. There's science and theater and sports and tennis and art and very much more. And these are the different people in our society. We all have different interests and talents and passions and strengths and dreams. And this is very good, because we have different interests and dreams and passions. It's in our nature to develop our skills in different areas. And therefore we can easily help each other and enrich the lives of the people around us. And now, this square represents the education plans made by our traditional school system. And these curricula are supposed to contain all the knowledge that students need to live successful and independent lives. But now, the school system tells us, you all have to get inside the square. You all. Hurry up. As a result, the square becomes a very crowded place, where you cannot see the uniqueness of the individual people. The creators of these plans, they wrote some math into these plans. But if you're not interested in some pieces of mathematical knowledge at a certain moment, when the teacher tells you to learn it now, then you've got a very big problem. Then the teachers will apply the system of punishments and rewards on you because they want you to learn what the system expects you to learn. They will grade your performances, they will give you stars and pluses and A's and B's, and they will give you non-verbal signs of disapproval and appreciation. Oh, you're such a good student, or super. They will talk to your parents about your compliance. It's just about compliance and learning behavior. And this so-called extrinsic motivation may force you to learn what they're telling you, may force you to comply, but it has a very huge price. It will kill your curiosity and your natural interest for learning, but just by its own sake, because the fears of punishment or of the absence or loss of rewards will focus your attention on only one question. Does my behavior please the authorities? What do I have to do to get good grades? And as you are fearing punishments or the absence of rewards, learning becomes a means to an end. It becomes an exhausting duty that you have to do to please your parents and your teachers. You're not any longer focused on the meaning, why you are learning it, and why do you want to learn this. You don't think about your dreams and the purpose of your work and the stuff. You just focus on the question, what do I have to do to get a good grade? And this is a huge disaster. And there's another issue. The other issue is that the students cannot choose in which areas they are going to be tested. The students' abilities and interests, they vary. And this is so great. But the tested performance standards, they are all the same. And therefore, the results of these tests will show a so-called normal distribution. No? Because the students are assigned to the tests regardless of their interests and their passions and their dreams. They don't count within the square. They are randomly assigned just to the same tests. And therefore you will always have many students with mediocre results or with poor results within such a normal distribution. And after 10 or 12 years trapped within this system, usually many students got average grades with average results, and some positive and some negative exceptions. And they acquire the belief, usually, oh, I'm a mediocre performer, and I have mediocre learning skills, so this means I'm mediocre. Mm-hmm. And many other unlucky children, more unlucky children, they acquire the belief that they are poor learners and that they are not intelligent at all, because they all the time in school hear that they have below average grades, that they have poor grades because they are not interested at this moment in math, or they don't want to learn math at the moment. And so they hear it and they hear it and they hear it, and after 10 or 12 years they start to believe it, that they're not intelligent, but it's not true. And this is a huge disaster, a huge disaster. Many social and economic problems arise from this area of the normal distribution. And I think that many of the people in our prisons wouldn't be there if they could see fulfilling ways to contribute to the lives of the other people, of the society. This kind of education could grow despair. And when people are in despair and they don't see any other options, then they might make the wrong choices. Students at preschools, on the other hand, they could choose to learn all day long only one music instrument. They learn to focus their attention on one thing that's important for them over a long period of time. And they experience what psychologists call the state of flow. And then when they achieved some kind of mastery after some time, then they know that they did it, that their motivations and their choices were the causes of their learning progresses. And at this magical moment, They experience that learning is a positive, useful thing, that they can do it and that they can use it to achieve their dreams and the things they're interested in. And it's so cool for them, it's natural for them. And after some time, they could develop the motivation to record some songs together with other students. And again, they have to learn new skills to achieve this. And they have to learn how to get the proper technical equipment. They have to learn how to use this equipment, how to coordinate the musical and technical skills together with the work of the others. And again, they set themselves meaningful goals. And they work hard for these goals. And they experience the power of their learning abilities. Because learning is so meaningful to them, it's positive for them. And after some time, maybe they have to return to the square because they want to pass conventional examinations, like university entrance tests, like the Abitur here in Germany, for example. But then they will know that they are able to pursue meaningful goals. And they are able to focus their attention on one thing over a long period of time. It's so important. Ask a psychologist. And they know how to organize their learning behaviors. And of course, their academic knowledge could have some gaps. At a traditional school, it's usually not wise to admit that you've got gaps, especially not to the teachers. They will give you bad grades for it. But these students, they experience that overcoming your gaps is good. And so they won't be afraid to admit their gaps to themselves and to take actions to overcome these gaps. We cannot afford an education system that endangers the curiosity of our children and then increases beliefs of intellectual weakness and mediocrity. My son, he's 3 years old, he comes to me and shouts, curious and enthusiastic, Papa, 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 I want to do this, yeah, Papa, I'm so strong, Papa, I'm so strong. And he's so lovely, he's so wonderful. And when I imagine that a school system could possibly ever endanger this makes me sad. We have to shift the focus of our education system on the dreams and the passions of our students. We have to turn schools into places where children can learn what they would really love to learn, what they would like to fight and to work hard for because they are inspired, and where they are able to think about what's really meaningful for them and to create deep personal meaning. And then we have to encourage them to dream inspiring life dreams and to pursue these dreams even in the face of huge obstacles. Everyone can be excellent if we allow the people to choose the areas in which they want to grow. Yaakov Hecht, founder of several free schools in Israel, he once said, if you really believe that in everyone is a genius in something, then the main thing that you need to do is to help him to find his genius. We have to help the children in our schools to find their dreams and their geniuses. Thank you.